Outcomes.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Gaming Accessibly Every Day with Mike, and we are playing Jerk Squad. Jerk. It's time for jerks to die. Yes, Derek does not like jerks, and yes, we're back. But this time we are still going through the menus and the discussions about Jerk Squad Hardcore and how you can set up your own Jerk Squad Hardcore deck. So for about 20 to 25 minutes, we're just going to talk about my deck, and maybe we'll give it a little run and see how we do. Now, it's not for the faint of heart. Jerk Squad Hardcore is a set of rules that aren't in the game, but it could be specialized for whenever the developer decides to make a standalone game of Jerk Squad. It's just that good. You can locate Jerk Squad in Chapter 3 of the paid version of the game, I think for a couple of dollars. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our Jerk Squad. We're going to go over my deck. And this is part 2. And please, if you haven't watched part 1, please swing back and watch part 1. And don't watch this part because you're gonna not know what I'm talking about. So I'll stop and wait. Go ahead and leave me here and go back and watch part 1. I'll wait. Ah, you're back. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and go over my deck.
Spacebar. Spacibin GIF. Image. You are a heading not found. Your surface. Heading.
Going
your fragmented
to
mechanical
surface.
surfaces. Space radio. Jerk club GIF. Image.
All right. Jerk
Wood.
Club.
Image. Buy jerk cans. Jerk club backstage GIF. Buy jerk bartender GIF. Derek summoning. Jerk squad. Heading level
All right.
1.
Let's go over my hardcore
They'll
deck.
protect. They'll protect your shining core from invaders. Or they'll try at least. These are jerks after all.
All right, those are my jerks. That's their description, which I appreciate. Let's go over what I have in my deck.
Back. Heading level 1. 3 times regular jerk. Heading level 1.
Now, per the rules of Jerk Squad Hardcore, you can have 3 of almost any regular card. So I have 3 regular jerks.
3 times tiny jerkomancer. Heading level 1.
I have,
3 times jerkomancer GIF. Image.
okay.
3 times jerk regular GIF.
Okay, I
Image.
just want to make sure I have the right number.
Drag percent activate. Muffin power of 380.
Oops.
They'll protect your shine back. Head 3 times regular jerk. 3 times tiny jerkomancer.
Okay.
Heading level 1.
I have 3 tiny jerkomancers. So if you want to make this a little harder on yourself, if you want to make it really harder on yourself, then limit your jerkomancers to 2 or 1, even the tiny ones. Yes, it will be much, much harder. Yes. In fact, if you want to make it really hard, give yourself 1 tiny jerkomancer, 1 jerkomancer, and 1 legendary jerkomancer. That is Supreme Hardcore mode. So I told you I was going to talk about Supreme Hardcore mode. We're going to talk about how you can make a Hardcore mode into Supreme Hardcore.
2 times jerkomancer. Heading level 1.
Now, jerkomancers are the same as tiny jerkomancers, but they cost 0 actions, which makes them so much better. If you were running a free deck, which doesn't have any of these limitations, you could pretty much draw your whole entire hand in like maybe 1 turn. And that's really how you beat like Jack the Sun or some of the more powerful Dereks. But I have 2. I can have 3 in regular hardcore mode.
3 times tiny cheating jerk. Heading level 1.
All right. Tiny cheaters are regular cards. You can have 3 maximum in your hardcore deck. I have 3. They're very valuable because they make it so that you have a free action.
1 times cheating jerk. Heading level 1.
Now, cheating jerk is this upgraded, evolved form of tiny cheaters. It gives you 2 free actions, which is quite valuable.
2 times big jerk. Heading level 1.
Now, getting back to cheating jerks, if you want to make yourself have a really supreme hardcore deck, you may only have 3 cheaters. 1 tiny cheater, 1 cheating jerk, and 1 legendary cheating jerk. That is much harder.
2 times big jerk. Heading level 1.
Okay, 2 times big jerk. Let me see.
1 times cheating jerk. 2 times big jerk.
Now,
Heading level 1.
big jerk does, I think it costs 2 actions and does a lot more damage. So this one gets stronger depending on how much you upgraded your attack power. So one of the ways you can bypass the difficulties of hardcore and supreme hardcore mode is to increase your attack damage. I don't limit you from increasing your attack damage. Hardcore mode and supreme hardcore mode are designed to bypass the advantages of your attack, because this game is really simplistic in that you just attack the Derek and deplete its hit points, and it attacks your core and depletes your stardust. So it's really very simple in that sense. So we're adding some complexity to it to make it fun.
3 times Jerk Baker, heading level 1.
All right, jerk bakers are your basic run-of-the-mill bakers. They are found in even the cheapest cards, and they just produce a set amount of muffins, which is block, basically.
3 times Big Jerk Baker, heading level 1.
Now, big jerk bakers, I do believe, I think these are the big ones. They produce about twice as much as the regular jerk bakers.
1 times Giant Jerk Baker, heading level 1.
And giant jerk bakers produce about 3 times the amount of the regular jerk bakers. So that's if you're fighting a really powerful, like, alien invader or a planetary celestial object, and you want to finish them off, like if it's a really big jerk.
2 times Jerk Manager, heading level 1.
Jerk managers make all of your muffins or your block twice as more effective. I think it's 50% more effective.
3 times Jerk Accountant, heading level 1.
Jerk accountants give you 20% more rings, and yes, it doesn't exponentiate, but you can keep cycling through them. 20%, 20% more, 20% more, etc.
2 times Jerk Coach, heading level 1.
Jerk Coach makes your jerks do, I do believe, 50% more damage. Or say
Jerk Mean Jiv, Emmet, 2 times Jerk Coach, heading level 1.
Yeah, I think it makes you just have 50% more, makes you have 50% more damage.
2 times Mean Jerk, heading level 1.
Mean Jerk does more damage if your enemy has 50% or less health. Now, the legendary one can make that even higher. So I don't feel like limiting. You're only in hardcore mode, you're limited to only 1 legendary of every card. Every legendary is considered unique, which means you can only have 1. Now, as far as supreme hardcore mode, it doesn't really matter how many mean jerks you have, because they cost 2 actions. They aren't that effective. So I mean, a ninja can do just about as much damage as a mean jerk. What makes mean jerks great is when you have the enemy down to half life, then they get really powerful.
3 times Pack Leader Jerk, heading level 1.
Pack Leader is great if you're trying to farm early Dereks or early enemies, because it can just wipe out the enemy, and it's really effective when you have a 50 card deck. So typically I can beat like the 300 muffin power Dereks or the 600 muffin power Dereks pretty quickly with pack leaders. You're limited to 3 of them in the hardcore deck. Now, if you want to make yourself have to struggle a little bit more in Supreme Hardcore mode, it's optional. You can make it so that you're only allowed to have 2 pack leaders, 1 legendary and 1 regular. And that's a theme in Supreme Hardcore mode. And I'm going to go over all the rules again at the end, but Supreme Hardcore mode is about making all of the cards in the game unique, which means you can only have 1 of each.
1 times Angry Fat Kid Jerk, heading level 1.
Angry Fat Kid Jerk, I usually call it Angry Kid because I don't like that word in the middle, is great for burning, doing direct damage to your enemy. So you can have 3 of these, so don't worry about that. If you're playing Supreme Hardcore, you can only have 1 regular Angry Kid and you can have 1 legendary Angry Kid.
3 times Muffin Jerk, heading level 1.
Muffin Jerks double the muffins that are on the field. It synergizes really well with Angry Kid.
3 times Juggler Jerk, heading level 1.
Juggler's one of the best cards in the game. If you want to make it Supreme Hardcore deck, then you can only have 1 legendary and 1 regular Juggler.
2 times Ninja Jerk, heading level 1.
Ninja jerks are really powerful melee units, so you can have up to 3 of them. Enough said.
3 times jerk thrower. Heading level 1.
Jerk throwers are actually useful, especially if you have a bunch of cards that you don't need anymore. Save your throwers for after you've used all the cards you need to use, because every turn, if Derek's not going to, or the enemy's not going to steal your core, because you can only have 1 hit on your core in hardcore mode. You lose if you take any damage. So once you've laid out some block or muffin, go ahead and throw anything you have left, unless you're doing damage or direct damage with Angry Kid. But yeah, thrower is actually useful, and there's actually a legendary thrower who does even more enormous damage, and there's some pretty good combos that can kill your enemy with the throw combination.
1 times buffet jerk. Heading level 1.
Now, buffet jerk is kind of weird. It's based on a certain number of cards I do believe that you have available. So it's very much like pack leader, but with muffins. So it does, I do believe it creates more muffins based on how many cards are in your pile.
1 times Frankenstein's baker jerk. Heading level 1.
Okay, sorry. And I do believe Frankenstein's the opposite. Frankenstein gets stronger the more cards that you use. So if I'm getting that wrong, let me double tap. Frankenstein, what's the difference?
Bakes 2 muffins for each beaten up jerk. Increased further by muffin power.
Okay, okay. So the way this one works is you gotta get rid of a lot of your jerks, and then this thing gets powered up, it gets stronger. Whereas the buffet jerk gives you more cards the more cards you haven't used.
Remove 1. Stardust Jiv. Back. Heading level 1.
Go back.
Del Protect. Del Protect. 3 times Tiny Jerkomancer. Jerkomancer activate. Default. 3 times Tiny Jerk. 2 times Big Jerk. Heading.
I'm just gonna go back
3
there.
times Big Jerk Baker. Head. Jerk Coach Jiv. Jerk Mean. 2 times Jerk Coach Jiv. 3 times Jerk. 2 times Mean Jerk. Jerk Pack Leader Jiv. 3 times Pack Leader. Jerk Fat Kid Jiv. Image. 3 times Muffin Jerk. Heading 3 times Juggler Jerk. Heading level 2 times Ninja Jerk. Heading 3 times Jerk Thrower. Heading level 1 times Buffet Jerk. Heading 1 times Frankenstein's Baker Jerk. 2 times Snappy Jerk Baker. Heading level 1.
Snappy Jerk Bakers cost 0 action. These are a must-have in any hardcore deck. Because they cost 0 actions, they are very necessary for dealing with any enemy that's going to attack your core. So you can have 3 of these. And in Supreme mode, I don't think it really matters. Because Supreme mode is so difficult. It's going to be really, really difficult for you to beat any really difficult opponent. Difficult to beat a difficult opponent, right? But anyway, Snappies, you're limited to 3.
1 times. Heading level 1. LE. Heading level 1. GE. ND. Airy. Heading Angry Fat Kid Jerk. Heading level 1.
And of course I have a limit in Supreme, as in regular hardcore mode. You're only allowed a legendary, 1 legendary. But there's a different rule for Supreme hardcore mode. In Supreme hardcore mode, you're only allowed either the regular Angry Kid or the legendary Angry Kid. You need to choose. It's unique.
Heading not found.
And that's it.
Angry
So
Fat
that
Kid Jerk.
is my
Heading
deck.
level 1.
There are 50 cards. It is a completely legal hardcore deck. Now, if I wanted to make this a Supreme hardcore deck, I'd have to do a little bit more jumping around. I'd have to remove one of the Angry Kids. I'd have to remove some of the jugglers. So I'd have to remove 2 of the jugglers. I'd have to remove at least 3 of the Jerkomonsters. And other than that, there wouldn't be much difference. And yes, you're saying that's going to make it so hard to win. That's the whole point. It's called hardcore mode. All right, let's get into a battle.
Heading not Airy. Head ND. Heading Wood. Image. Back. Heading.
Let's go fight some
To be
Derek
honest,
summoning device.
It's not back. Head Jerk Squad. Derek summoning device. The oven/summoning device is ready to go. Pay the bake 100, bake 300.
Let's
muffin,
go for a 300
gold.
battle.
Button. This Derek is really small.
It's a small Derek. All right, let's beat this guy.
Jerk Squad attack. Heading
Go
level
Jerks.
1. Tiny Derek.
All right. So we have to guard our core. Now in hardcore mode, remember, anytime it hits your core, you lose.
Is pumped. He has 300/300 health. He is super hungry and intends to eat. 10 stardust.
Okay, that's easy. 10 stardust isn't hard to defend against.
From your core. 12/450 stardust in core. You have baked 0 muffins. There are 45. 5 jerk. S. Step. Which jerk do you have? 4 jerk actions.
Okay.
Left.
We have 4 jerk actions. We draw 5 cards. We've done a couple of upgrades with Ronaldin. So if you want to upgrade your jerk squad deck, you're going to want to gain lollipops. Those will get you reputation with Ronaldin, the worm god. And he'll give you the ability to have 1 extra action. He'll also give you the ability to draw 5 cards, which is extremely powerful.
Derek Tiny Jiv. End round. Jerk squad Jiv. Run away. Jerk Baker Big Jiv. Image.
I don't want to use a big jerk. I don't want to use a big baker. Let's try to use a cheap baker first.
Big Jerk Baker. Heading 2. Heading level. Bake. Button. Bake 76. Jerk Baker Giant Jiv. Image.
Oh, goodness. We don't need that many. We have a giant baker.
Giant Jerk Baker. 3. Heading. Bake. Button. Bake 152 muffins. Jerk Big Jiv. Big Jerk. 2. Head. Smash. Button. Deals 95 damage.
Okay, we have a melee attacker.
Jerk Muffin Jiv. Image.
And we have a muffin jerk, which is going to double any muffins we bake.
Muffin Jerk. 1. Muffins. Doubles your muffins. Jerk Baker Snappy Jiv. Image.
And Snappy!
Snappy Jerk Baker. 0. Head. Bake. Bake 30 muffins.
Let's go ahead and bake a Snappy. So that's free.
Okay.
That's your
Heading level
ideal
1.
draw. It's your ideal draw to draw a Snappy because it's 0 actions.
Okay. Heading level. Slam.
Okay, cool.
Tiny Derek. Charges him into the air. Derek Tiny Jiv. Odge. Heading.
Cool. Now we can do straight
10
up
stardust.
damage.
End round. Jerk squad Jiv. Run away. Jerk Bake. Big Jerk Bake. 2. Bake. But Bake 70. Jerk Baker. Giant Jerk. 3. Head. Bake. But Bake. Jerk Big Jiv. Big Jerk. 2. Smash. Deals 95. Jerk Muffin Jiv. Muffin Jerk. 1. Muffins. Doubles your muffin. 1. Muffin Jerk. Jerk Muffin Jiv. Deals 95 damage.
Okay, this is what we want. We want to deal 95 damage.
Okay. Okay. Heading left. Slam. Odge. Heading left. Tiny Derek.
Cool. Now we just need to do 205 more damage.
Is pumped. 205/300 health. He is super. 10 stardust from your core.
Now, you can't do anything else with your cards, so you might as well just end your turn. You don't need to bake anything more. Now, it would be great if I had an angry kid, because then I could just burn them, but I don't have one.
10 stardust. From your 12/4, you have baked 30 muffins. There are 3 jerk. End round. Heading
Let's go
level
ahead
1.
and end round. Here I go.
Talk Jiv. Image. Okay. Heading level. Tiny Derek.
All right. And when you hear them go, hey, that means it's a new round. All right. So we need to, again, each round, you've got to protect your core, because you lose if Derek hits your core.
Is pumped. He 205/300 health. He is super hungry and intends to eat. 10 stardust.
Okay, again, he's making a very small attack. And here's the thing, if you don't draw any bakers, you lose. So make sure your deck has plenty of bakers.
From your core. 12/450 stardust in core. You have baked 0 muffins. There are 40 healthy jerk. S. 5 jerk. S. R. Which jerk do you want to pit against him? You have 4 jerk act left. Derek Tiny Jiv. Image. End round. Jerk squad Jiv. Run away. Jerk coach Jiv. Jerk coach.
Okay, we have
Heading
a
level
coach. So that's going to increase our attack power.
1. Train. But makes your jerks deal more damage. Jerk coach Jiv. Jerk coach. Head 1. Heading level 1.
Costs 1 action.
Train. But makes your jerks deal more damage.
Oh, I have 2 coaches. I drew 2 coaches. That was bad luck.
Jerk mean Jiv. Image.
Oh, God, we're getting all melee and fighters. There may be a combo here, though. Too bad Derek isn't half health. The mean jerk would just destroy him.
Mean jerk. 2. Head. Fight. But deals 76 damage. Would deal double damage if enemy is below 50% health.
Okay, if enemy is below 50%, not 50% or below, folks. So let me make a correction. If it's below 50% hit points. So I think they have an incorrect, it's incorrect. There's a typo there. It says below 50% damage. It means if the enemy's hit point is below 50%. So there's a little correction that needs to be made there. So we need to, if we could have just get his health down a little bit more to like 149.
Jerk ninja jiv. Image.
But we do have a ninja too. So I'm feeling like with a coach, we can do ninja plus mean jerk. That might just be enough to finish him.
Ninja jerk. Head 1. Fight. But deals 57 damage.
That's 57 damage.
Jerk pack leader jiv.
Ooh.
Image.
Oh, that might be it. Jerk pack leader might finish him off.
Pack leader jerk. 3. Fight. Button. Deals 304 damage.
Oh, that's
3
it.
for each
There you
jerk in
go.
your pile.
The pack leader kill. That's it. Let's go finish him off.
304 damage. Derek strength jiv. Okay. Heading. Tiny Derek has been defeated. Your jerk swarm over.
Nice.
Tiny Derek has been defeated. Your jerk swarm over to loot all his precious space rings.
And as a totally legally hardcore game. Simple, right? You can farm up a ton of stuff. Now, the better your hardcore deck, the stronger the enemy you can fight with the Derek summoning device, or the space radio, or Jack, or the ghost, or any of the other creatures that you have to fight. And that's hardcore mode in its essence. It's just really fun, just a little different way of playing. You have to pay attention a lot more to what you're doing, but it's really simple. Let's go ahead and find out how much we get from this.
Space ring jiv. Go get them. Heading level.
I think we get,
Heading level 1.
since we didn't use any accountants, we're just gonna get, I do believe we're just going to get 300 space rings.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Talk jiv from the defeated enemy. 300 space rings.
Okay, there we go. So it's standard, it's always the same. If you use accountants, you can make that 320.
From the defeated enemy. Talk jiv. Oh yeah.
And you're gonna
level
get
1.
some lollipops.
Oh yeah.
Let's find out how many
level 1.
lollipops.
You also find 9,000 wood in his wallet.
Oh, I forgot. You also get a resource. It could be wood, cocoa, stardust. I think that's it.
Wood jiv. Image. Sweet. Heading level 1.
And then let's find out how many lollipops we get.
4. For being so nice to them. 20 lollipops.
Cool, we got 20 lollipops. Now, lollipops are the currency you need to use to power up your decks with Renelided. And that's it, folks. That is a hardcore playthrough. Super simple, super fun. We're going to probably end it there. I don't think we need a part 3, do we? Okay, I'll tell you what. We will maybe do a part 3 if we need to go over the rules of Supreme Hardcore mode, but I think you all understand it. Let's just review. Hardcore mode, you can have 3 of any regular card. All legendaries are unique. You can only have 1 of each. You can only be hit 1 time. If you do, you lose. Your deck must be 50 cards. What are some of, I'm trying to think if there's any other rules you need to know about. No, that's it. That's it. You can do whatever else you want. All right, Supreme Hardcore mode. Let's wrap it up right here because I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Supreme Hardcore mode. Every card is unique, which means you can only have 1 regular, 1 ninja, 1 snappy, 1 angry kid, 1 juggler, 1 jerk-a-monster, 1 of each of the bakers, 1 of each of the big bruiser characters, 1 pack leader, either legendary, and if you want to make it really tough on yourself, give yourself only 1 pack leader. And if you want to make it really tough on yourself, give yourself only 1 angry kid. Otherwise, you can have 1 regular, 1 legendary. You can have 1 juggler and 1 legendary juggler, 1 regular mean jerk and 1 legendary mean jerk, and 1, I think vengeful jerk is only, I think vengeful's are regular and legendary, so you can have 1 vengeful jerk and 1 legendary vengeful jerk. So basically follow that formula and you have created yourself a supreme hardcore deck. So have fun with these cool little rules, and that's gonna wrap it up. This is part 2, the conclusion of hardcore mode. Let me know what you think about it. If you have some suggestions, if you have some cool ways that you've implemented some expanded rule sets that make it fun to play, please leave it in the comments. And as always, game excessively with Mike every day, and I'll hear you next time. Cheers! Wars Jerks Destroy. Arr.